I want to talk about the 5-year-old kid who was accused of wearing blackface at a game of the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, there was an article in a publication called Deadspin, and it was written by, the post was written by this guy named Caron, C-A-R-R-O-N, Caron Phillips. I look up his profile. He is apparently a Pulitzer nominee. He's had some awards, Journalist of the Year. He used to work for the New York Daily News. So this is actually a pretty accomplished, or at least established, journalist. And you have to ask, why would a journalist go after a 5-year-old kid? Well, apparently he spotted this 5-year-old kid in the game. And if you look at his post about it, what he does is he shows the kid from the side. You can kind of see one side of the boy's profile, and it is painted on one side black. And so looking at it only from the profile side, it's like, wow, you got a kid in blackface. And presumably this is not the fault of the kid, but maybe the parents did this. Or so the post that Caron Phillips puts out basically is saying that the NFL needs to speak out against this. The NFL needs to step in because you got a kid in blackface at a Kansas City Chiefs game. Now, what makes all of this so deceptive and insidious is that the moment the kid turns his face, in other words, when you look at the full picture, you don't look at the distorted or half picture that was presented in Caron Phillips's post, but you look at the kid, you see that the kid has, well, here it is. Take a look if you're watching this, the podcast in video. You can see what it is. He's got the right side of his face is painted black, and the left side of his face is painted red. And he's wearing an Indian headdress. In other words, this is, in fact, these are the colors of the Kansas City Chiefs. So the kid is nothing more than a fan. And while he's there, even more interesting, he does the Kansas City Chiefs kind of chopping sign, which I guess is the let's defeat the other side, let's chop them. So he does the tomahawk chop. And guess what? When you're looking at the video of it, it's very interesting because you see some of the Kansas City Chief players, in fact, black players, and they look up at the kid and they see him doing the chop sign, and so they do the chop sign. So in other words, they're familiar with the kid, they see what he's doing, they approve of it, he's wearing the Kansas City colors, and they kind of join him in doing this tomahawk chop sign. Absolutely benign, not a hint of racism. And then this is what happens these days on X, on Twitter, is that people start looking up. They look up the kid because they're like, is this kid really a racist? Are his parents really racist? Well, it turns out that the kid is a Native American. It turns out that he belongs to the Chumash tribe. His dad is on the board of the Chumash tribe in Santa Ynez. And so this is a completely benign incident that is being twisted, but twisted deliberately. And you have to say deliberately. Why? Because when you go to the partial photo, you get it. Obviously, Caron Phillips saw the full photo. He could see the kid. He could see, now this kid is he's in the Kansas City colors. But guess what? If I shoot him from one side, I get only the blackface. And so this appears to be a very malicious act by an influential publication and an influential journalist against a 5-year-old kid. Now, to me, this is a worse slander than happened. Remember that kid at Georgetown, who was approached and they acted like he was somehow a racist and they were beating the drums and all this stuff. And he won a big settlement because he filed a lawsuit. And this is really what I think this kid's parents need to do. They need to get a good lawyer and they need to file a massive defamation suit against Caron Phillips and against Deadspin, because this talk about putting out something that could ruin a kid's life, right? It could ruin a kid's life because imagine at the age of 5 being portrayed as some kind of, racist in the making because you wore supposedly blackface, except you didn't, to a game. I think that any jury, and I even think that a jury of people of different political views will look at this and go, this is really a kind of child abuse. It shows the callousness of modern journalism. And I'm looking at this Caron Phillips guy, I'm looking at his profile, and he's kind of smiling from ear to ear, but this is what we get these days. We get people who put on a smile, but they act in a vicious manner. I mean, didn't this guy think, well, whatever the kid did, he's 5. And so does it really make sense to blast his image all over social media and use one of the most kind of vile smears that you can use against somebody that clearly can't be applicable to him no matter what he did? The kid in that sense at 5 is going to be innocent no matter what he did. He could be saying Heil Hitler and he would still be a 5-year-old. So imagine what comprehension would a 5-year-old have of what Hitler did or anything for that matter. So the innocence of a 5-year-old is presumed. It's the presumptive starting point. This is why I'd like to see Deadspin and Caron Phillips really be held accountable for this clear libel. During times of economic uncertainty and political upheaval, it's crucial to have a reliable source of financial guidance and insight. That's where Dr. Kirk Elliott, PhD, and his esteemed wealth management advisory firm come into play. Dr. Elliott has distinguished himself with 2 PhDs in economics and theology. He's built a reputation in expert financial solutions tailored to your unique needs. His firm specializes in wealth management, offering a comprehensive array of services to protect and grow your assets in an ever-changing world. In an environment filled with economic volatility and shifting political landscapes, finding a trusted partner during these challenges is essential. Dr. Elliott's firm employs cutting-edge strategies and an understanding of markets to guide you toward financial success. Go to KirkElliottPhD.com. That's Kirk Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's, KirkElliottPhD.com/Dinesh. Book an appointment and they will walk you through their investment process. That's KirkElliottPhD.com/Dinesh, or you can call or text 720-605-3900. Once again, 720-605-3900.